Hello and welcome to episode 15 of Neverwinter Nights Adventure Series number 12, Prophet Chapter 3, That Which is Destined. We are here in the frozen waste. We survived a bugbear assault quite easily. And I'm a little injured, so let me go ahead and cast Cure Light Wounds on myself as we follow the glyphs. A vast, desolate plain extends as far as the eye can see. Unsummoning, summoned Honarchon. For 7 long days you walk the endless frozen race with only Lord Evanorn's glyph as your guide. Glyphs. The desolation of this place, it draws the very life from my heart. You hope that what fell this great beast was age of the bitter cold, and not something more fearsome. Frozen corpse. Odd. Amethyst diamond frozen shield. The small shield has been frozen so long that the metal has been infused with ice and is hard as diamond. It now offers significant protection against cold attacks, although what damage gets through is exaggerated. Vulnerable to 25, but cold resists 5, and it's a +3. Frozen short sword. This once fine magical blade has been frozen solid for a long time and is probably more powerful than it had ever been originally. Its touch deals powerful cold damage, but also makes the wielder significantly more susceptible to cold. Cold 2 damage, cold 1d4 damage, 25% cold vulnerability, +1, and saving throws cold -4. I don't like that. We'll take the berry. Frozen rations, they're useless. I know the glyphs are pointing this way, but I kind of want to go see what the Polar Bear Express was going on over there. Maybe there's some hidden treasure. It was over here somewhere. Polar bear. Nothing, just a polar bear. And something up there. Resisted my... Okay, I need a cure. remains regenerating. Get a march on. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Have a firewall. And have a fireball. And have another fireball. And come get some. Yes, walk in the firewall. Come on. This is ridiculous. Regenerating. How do we stop them from regenerating? I forget. Flame strikes? Okay, he's not regenerating anymore. He's not regenerating anymore. Destruction. Is there even a reason to go in here? I don't even see a glyph. That's another case of just slaughter the... No, the glyph's going this way. I'm sorry, but I'm not dealing with the cave of ice trolls. I'm not slaughtering ice trolls. Miss me with that. Alright, we need some curing going on. Hang in there, Archon. They're just a pain in the behind. I don't want to use my last summon. Destruction. Now he's dead. Yikes. We need to be in good shape here. I don't care what treasure an ice troll has. Heading to Ymreth-Arduin. I could just put on my sling and start shooting, fire bullets at them to destroy them, but I know when I go in that cave there's going to be a horde of them, like an unholy amount of them. Top of ice. Seems there's something within it. Ancient column. This is an old stone column here embedded in the ice. Could this be part of the ancient city of Ymreth-Arduin? Through here then? Through here. A column frozen in time. Perhaps it is part of the ancient city we seek. An ancient ruin looms out of the mists. Journal's been updated. The mystery of Herzog. This is it. We have found Ymreth-Arduin. I have found it at last. Ymreth-Arduin, the ancient capital of the Herzog. Lord Evanorn has led me to it, and now I am here, where I shall find answers to all my questions. It was a long, rugged trip. Can't interact with that. Okay, is it further? Into the icy cave. Encased within sheets of ice, you can just barely make out what appears as an ancient wall.
You won't win! You won't!
Reach target. Fisher, you are too excited to talk right now.
I didn't want to do this, but... I will not let you do this!
Alright, we entered the fissure. Centuries of pressure have pushed out some of the bricks in this wall, creating a narrow fissure. You might be able to squeeze through it. Listen at the fissure. You hear the faint sound of shouting voices, or is it just the wind entering the fissure? You cannot fit while wearing your armor. Ymreth-Arduin. Weird they had me take off my armor. You entered a great cavern, and the air is not as cold as outside. Good, we can rest finally. Transparent mushroom. Far away in the fog, you can see some ancient ruins. This mushroom is almost completely transparent, making it difficult to see. If you eat it, you will become briefly transparent yourself. Invisibility. Glowing moss emanates a slight warmth. Big mushroom.
You won't win! You won't!
This way, huh? Through another fissure? Crack. Glass case. The small glass case appears to have contained a scroll. To break it, use the special power. Note from Evernorn. Alas, my friend, you have found where your destiny awaits, Ymreth-Arduin, the ancient capital of the Herazars. You have traveled far, but your journey is not yet at an end. Many dangers still await you, but I shall do all I can to guide your way through them. These ruins you find here are what remains of the upper city of Ymreth-Arduin, where the memories of the Herazars still rage against creation. You must exercise great care exploring this place, for it is haunted by shadows of their emotions: fury, despair, fear, shame, and others too terrible to name. I recommend you avoid attracting their attention. Look for the transparent mushrooms growing in these caverns. Eating them will temporarily hide you from sight, and you may slip by unnoticed. I suggest you pass through the tortured land with haste. Take a look at this map I have drawn here and make your way to the northern section. There you will find a great well extending deep into the earth and a magnificent staircase leading downward. This is the entrance to the lower city. Descend the staircase and search again for my glyph. There I have left for you a cache of treasure, supplies, powerful items, and most important of all, the sum of my knowledge about this place. The answers you seek await you. slip by unnoticed. At last, there it is, Ymreth-Arduin. There it is. Within a small glass case, I have found another note from Lord Evernorn. It says that I must make my way to the lower part of the city of Ymreth-Arduin, where he has left for me a cache of treasure and the rest of his notes, again marked with one of his glyphs. He suggests that I make my way to the north part of this cavern, where a staircase leads down to the lower city. I must be careful, for this place is haunted by spirits of rage and madness. Well, let's just kill the shade. Fighting amongst each other, too. Ouch. We can handle them. Oh, I see. Fury. Who is this? I hear our shade kicking my behind. Okay, let's go transparent. There's a door. Do I check out what's inside? Arduin the ruins. I don't think this is where I'm supposed to be. This is just a rare ruin. Gold sarcophagus. Locked.
I will not let my attack! It didn't work.
I'm just going to get to the north part of the city. Whatever treasure they hide here is all well and good. Here, an exquisitely crafted staircase spirals down into darkness. Flooded ruin, former site of Lore's temple. Ruin, hall of statues, danger. Ruin. The ruined city, wow. I bet there's a lot of stuff to pull out of there. But I'm just moving forward. How do I access the staircase? To the lower city. Evernorn's bag. This bag bears the mark of your old friend Lord Evernorn. It has been enchanted with a levitation spell, making the items within it much lighter to carry. Cape of the Fire Bath. Common among clerics and other powerful followers of Thulil, these cloaks of resistance are brilliant red and embroidered with images of flames. The wearer can withstand both extremely hot weather and mystical fire damage. Fire resist 20. Saving throws versus fire plus. A rod of ice. Uses cone of cold. 5 Ganymer's gills. The target gains the ability to breathe underwater for a few hours and becomes immune to the spell Drown. And Evernorn's notes. Unlike the previous notes Evernorn left for you, these are not bound into a book. Rather, they are simply a bundle of loose sheets held within a leather case. You do notice, however, that most of the sheets have been part of a notebook at some time and later carefully cut out. To read the notes using a unique power. Read the introduction. The page lies open before you. To read out loud, select this option. If you are reading these notes without me at your side, Karini Kovaleski, then I'm profoundly sorry. I have placed them for you here before heading back to Scarenfall and Ymreth-Arduin, and if you have not found me along the way, then I am most certainly long dead. Nevertheless, I have accomplished what I set out to do. These pages you hold in the palm of your hand, Karini Kovaleski, they contain all the hope that still remains. They describe all that I have learned about the secrets of Ymreth-Arduin and explain how you can end this century of sorrow. Please excuse the disarray, but I've been compiling these for over a long time, as this place is full of histories. This you will see for yourself. First, take a look at this map I have drawn here. The city is divided into 2 sections, the upper, which is almost entirely in ruins, and the lower, which is remarkably well preserved. I will describe these in the following pages. I recommend you read them in order. Harazar history. Know that Harazar history is a very large topic, and so here I shall only sketch out its main shape. This should help you navigate through their motives, but a deeper understanding would surely take a lifetime. The history of the Harazars can be seen as 3 separate ages, in which each of their empire was smaller than in the previous. The first age was the most glorious, in which the Harazars conquered the entire western world and rose to incredible power. During this time, their empire was called Arduin and spanned all that is now the frozen north and the Erdinar. Interestingly, at this time, the entire land enjoyed a much more temperate climate. On some pictographs, I have even seen images of palm trees. At the end of the first age, the Harazars found the means to enter the astral plane and to explore its intricate, timeless webs. That was their downfall. Within the astral webs, they encountered a race of beings of unimaginable evil, the Illithid. These beings were able to control the minds of the Harazars and enslave them for 1,000 years. However, ultimately the Harazars were able to free themselves and return to the physical world. I have not yet learned how they did it, for they did not document what happened. It seems they hold a collective guilt over these events and refuse to record them within their archives. In the Second Age, the Harazars never again tried to conquer other races. Now they were content to build only one city, the glorious Ymreth-Arduin. It was built beneath the surface with an inverted style of construction reaching down into the earth instead of up toward the sky. And like their architecture, the Harazars' exploration of knowledge turned inward toward the secrets of creation. That is why they began to worship the creator god Lor, to whom the city was dedicated. But in that exploration they discovered something terrible. They discovered that all mortals are slaves to fate, and there is no free will, and all our actions are predetermined. This enraged them so greatly that they turned against Lor and each other and destroyed their city in a rampage of madness and violence called the apostasy. I estimate that the apostasy only lasted a year or so, and yet during that time the Harazars destroyed almost all that they had once accomplished. It was as if they had been intent on defiling creation itself as an attempt to punish Lor for his betrayal. And perhaps they would have succeeded were it not for the actions of one woman, a seer named Xanthia. This remarkable woman devised something most extraordinary, a plan to defeat fate. I will describe what I know of it elsewhere. Here, suffice to say that she convinced the Harazars that fate could be defeated, and so they put down their arms and devoted themselves to this most ambitious of goals. The Third Age began with the construction of the lower city. Once that was completed, only a small number of Harazars remained in Ymreth-Arduin. The rest left on a massive pilgrimage, scattering to all corners of the world, in search of a sacred artifact, the Pentaract. Of course, you know all about this. After centuries of searching, they found the Pentaract in the deep desert beneath what is now the city of Ymreth-Arduin, and there, in what came to be known as Jerez, they destroyed themselves at last. I confess I still do not understand the reasons, and they may be forever lost to time. Read about the Harazar plan. For all their conquest of power and knowledge, the greatest ambition of the Harazars was to conquer fate. That was their purpose of their great plan. I have spent a great deal of time researching how they hope to accomplish this impossible feat, but they have been quite meticulous about erasing nearly all records about it. Nevertheless, I have managed to piece together enough facts that I believe I understand its basic outline. How can one defeat fate if fate is at the heart of creation itself? How? By remaking creation. That is what the Harazars sought to accomplish. To do so, they exploited a weak point in the structure of all that exists, a fulcrum about which all of existence revolves, the Pentaract. Yes, as you surely already know, it was part of the Harazar plan that you would destroy the Pentaract, but even that was an impossible task. To destroy the Pentaract, you would need a piece of the hammer by which the god Lor created the universe. But since that is something which created existence, it lies outside of existence. So how can one obtain that which lies outside of existence? How do you obtain that which does not exist? By tricking the laws of existence itself, by violating the very essence of causality which enforces the permanence and conservation of matter. That is how they did it. They set up a chain of events such that a sliver of Lor's hammer would be passed backwards through time. This was your purpose, to receive the scepter of Lor through a lucid prophetic dream and use it to shatter the Pentaract. Thus the balance between the elements would be broken and the world would begin a long spiral into annihilation. Fortunately, the plan did not end thus. After 100 years have passed, the balance would be restored again. A new Pentaract would be created, a new order given to the world. But in this new order, fate would be banished. She would no longer enslave mortals with the chains of their destiny, and all of our actions would be free forever. This is the essence of the Harazar plan, to unmake the balance of the existence and replace it with a new one. To accomplish this, 100 years of terrible suffering would be necessary, but the Harazars believed this was a small price to pay to create free will for all mortals. I do not know if their actions were full of wisdom or of madness. How can a mere mortal judge the essence of creation? All I do know is that the century of sorrow has passed. It is done and it cannot be undone. What is now left to do is to complete this ancient task. This is your purpose, Karina Kovalevsky. You must restore the balance that you have broken. Thus you will save the world and free it forever from the chains of fate. I have left you my notes on how this is to be done. Read now the sections about the lower city and the structure I have called the Weave. That is where the answers lie. Read about the lower city. Here we can see the true splendor of Harazai construction, perfectly preserved even after all these thousands of years. It seems built from materials that are completely impervious to the passage of time. How my old friend Turl Farreleth, the great architect, would have loved to see this place. Like the upper city, this level is also haunted by ghosts of the Harazars, but these are not hostile. They merely stand still, staring into space as if waiting for something. Unfortunately, they are completely unresponsive. I have tried everything I can think of to get their attention, but they do not respond. They seem to either not see me or not care, and so I have let them be. The center of the lower city is dominated by a structure I have called the Weave, for it appears to eternally spin a spectral braid of energy whose purpose I have yet to divine. Note added later, it is a portal, see below. The Weave is surrounded by several other buildings which I describe elsewhere. I have called them the hovels, the residences, the museum, the academy, and the frozen tower. The lower city also contains 3 statues. One is ruined and unidentifiable. The second depicts a female sorceress, who I believe may be the seer Xanthea. The third statue depicts an apostate who represents the Herazar rebellion against the laws of creation. Oh boy, the hovels. To the west of the Weave stand what I call the hovels, where once resided the servants of the Herazars. These creatures are diminutive in stature, almost as small as gnomes, but I believe they were once human. I suspect they were deliberately bred or somehow mutilated to be a servant caste, a testament to the cruelty of the Herazars. I found nothing of interest here. The residences. To the east of the Weave stand what I call the residences, where the Herazars once lived. It consists of several homes huddled together in a structure that is something like a hive, composed of nodes, each of which includes an antechamber, living dining area, and sleeping chambers. There is no evidence of kitchens, and instead the food seems to have been provided through a system of central delivery tubes. Someday I should send my wizard eye down one of these tubes to see where they lead, but this can wait. Note added later, as I suspected, the tubes lead to the hovels where the servants prepared the food. The residences are also haunted by Herazar ghosts, but these also refuse to speak with me. I did not find anything of great interest here except for a door which I could not unlock. It is notable that the residences seem to have been designed for only a few dozen occupants. This means the final population of Ymreth-Arduin after the apostasy was very limited. I suppose most of them left on their pilgrimage. Museum. To the northwest of the Weave, there is a large ornate building I call the Museum. It describes the story of the Herazar First Age, when they conquered the Western world and rose to the heights of their power. This story is not told merely in books, of course. That would be beneath the Herazai style. No, the story is told by a series of talking statues that teach the listener their lessons in more dramatic ways. Some of these lessons are very dangerous, causing monsters to appear and attack. Other lessons are highly beneficial, bestowing powerful boons. In particular, I suggest you visit the following statues: Pride, the Dwarf, the Elf, the Scholar, the Muse, the Teacher, the Priestess, the Conqueror, and the Supplicant. Do not approach the others, for they release all sorts of monsters and curses. Trust me on this, for I have tried them all. The Academy. To the northeast of the Weave is a building I call the Academy. I call that based on the runes outside, but I have not been able to explore beyond its first chamber. That chamber contains a force field that repels all who attempt to pass, and I have not found any way to dispel it. Believe me, I have tried all the magic that I know. The first chamber contains some empty chests and another Herazar ghost, silent like the rest. However, it is notable that she wears shackles on her wrist and neck, suggesting to me that this place describes the imprisonment of the Herazars within the astral webs. I truly wish I found a way to explore further. Perhaps you will have better success. The Frozen Tower. North of the Weave stands a magnificent tower that is entirely encased in ice. I have tried melting the ice with magic, but without success. I have tried all manner of incantations to dispel it, but even Mordekainen's disjunction had no effect. Perhaps too many centuries have passed for it now to be undone. Pity, for I am very curious to know what lies within. The Weave. The Weave consists of a large stone structure that seems to have negative weight, for it floats above the ground. To prevent it from floating away, it is held to the earth by 3 massive chains held by 3 statues of human hands. The bottom part contains a stone sphere which rotates around the vertical axis, continuously spinning a spectral braid of energy. I strongly recommend that before reading further you consult my notes on the Herazar plan. Only then will this section make any sense. At first I believed the Weave to be some kind of energy source powering the city. However, further investigation revealed this to be false. It is a portal, and although I still cannot enter it, I believe I have learned where it leads. It leads to the greatest secret of the Herazars, the central key to their magnificent plan. It leads to a great machine, the Machine of the Gates, whose purpose is to create a new Pentaract. In the center of the machine there floats a void, an emptiness of existence. This is where the new Pentaract will be created. To do so, one must re-establish the balance between the elements that make up creation. The machine makes this possible. The architectural drawings of Nethsakar depict a wheel with 8 spokes, each marked with the symbols of the prime elements. These include the well-known physical elements of earth, air, water, and fire, as well as the spiritual element of life and death. The final 2 are the elements of time, past and future. At the ends of each spoke, there is a portal leading to a corresponding plane of existence. To activate the machine, one must enter each of these portals, collect samples of each of the 8 elemental essences, and bring them together in the center. My research has revealed a little about each of these portals, as I describe herein. I strongly recommend that you read these in order. Portal of Fire. The Portal of Fire transport one to the eastern edge of the world, where the land itself crumbles into an endless sea of lava. Here is where the sun is born each day, and so you must be careful not to enter between 6 and 7 in the morning, or you will surely be turned to dust. I have not seen a map of this area, but text suggests there is a being here who embodies the essence of fire. The sketches of Umensol depict the flame that turns into the body of a humanoid with glowing eyes of fire. He is depicted throwing living flames from his fingertips. This being is surely a formidable foe, but you must defeat him in order to obtain the essence of fire. I have left for you a magical cloak and a rod of ice in the hope that these will be sufficiently helpful. The Portal of Water. The Portal of Water transports one to the western edge of the world, where the great ocean tumbles in a gigantic waterfall into the endless plain of water. Here's eye diagrams indicate a staircase leading down this giant cliff, but I know little of where it leads. Assuming symmetry with the plane of fire, here there is another being who must be defeated in order to obtain the essence of water. What this being is or how it can be fought, I do not know. What I do know is that you will need some means of breathing underwater. For this reason, I have left you several scrolls, one for which I have inscribed the spell Ganymar's Gills, which will allow you to breathe underwater for a short time. Use them wisely. The Portal of Earth. To enter the Portal of Earth, you must jump into a pit in the southeastern part of the Chamber of the Gates. Do not be afraid, you will land unharmed and will find yourself within a network of tunnels dug thousands of miles under the ground. Here the stones themselves will attack you, so be careful. According to Heresite diagrams, in these tunnels you will find 3 stone pieces of a humanoid construct, which you must bring to a stone altar. Assemble them on the altar and step back, and a stone avatar will appear. This construct embodies the very essence of solidity, and you will have to destroy him to obtain it. You will find him to be nearly impossible to harm, but I suspect that, like all stone, he is vulnerable to sonic damage. Portal of Sky. To enter the plane of the sky, go to the northwestern corner of the Chamber of the Gates, where a powerful gust of wind blows the air upward. There is a beam of light here. Grasp it with your hand, and it will pull you rapidly into the air. This I would love to see. According to Heresite text, once you enter the plane of air, you will be free of the bonds of gravity and can fly with ease of a bird. You will find yourself floating through the clouds, and be careful, they are not as peaceful as they look. They are home to a variety of hostile air and radiance elementals. Among these clouds there lives an air spirit. Heresite sketches depicted as a large gray cloud with a glowing heart riding upon beams of lightning. Be careful, for this being can throw powerful lightning bolts and command the clouds to its bidding. Nevertheless, you must somehow defeat it to obtain the essence of air. We'll keep going. Portal of Life. The Portal of Life is found in the southern part of the Chamber of the Gates. It can be opened only after you have attained all the essences of the 4 physical elements and placed them upon the pedestals in the center of the Chamber of the Gates. Once this is done, the door will open and you may proceed. The portal will take you to the southern edge of the world, which is overgrown with a dense jungle. Here there are all manner of beasts, some mundane, some fantastical, and most of them will be hostile to your presence. You will appear atop a small fort, take refuge here in times of need, but eventually you will have to leave its safety and explore the jungle. The plane of life is full of dangers, teeming with giant beasts and bizarre mutations, but for all its peril, it also holds great power. While here, your wounds will regenerate, and even if you die, you will soon rise again. This is, of course, also true for the other inhabitants of this place. You must make your way southward until the jungle gives way to a great swamp. There, search for a glorious glowing crystal which explodes with light. The light contains within it a small round pearl made from pure Elon, the very essence of life. Once you have the essence, make your way back to the portal and exit. Then bring the essence toward the center of the Chamber of the Gates, and it will unlock the gate to the plane of death. That is where you must go next. To restore the balance between life and death, you must obtain the essence of life and bring it here. This is the only place where essence can be destroyed, thus completing its life cycle. Once you have the essence of life, enter the portal at the north of the chamber, and you will be transported to the northern edge of the world. Here the world cracks and falls apart into the bottomless darkness of the negative plane of death. As you walk onward, your very life force will be drained by the darkness of this place. Despite the pain, do not turn back, and eventually you will come to a large statue of an open hand, surrounded by darkness and fog the color of blood. This is the hand of death, and it is where you must place the essence of life. I do not know who built this statue. The reverence and awe with which the Harazars describe it suggests that it was not they, but some being or beings far older and more powerful. Perhaps we will never know. When you have placed the essence of life within the hand of death, the balance between the spiritual elements will be restored. But all this is transient, for all of these balances will be lost once again unless you can also restore the balance between the temporal elements, the past and the future. The future. At first I was very confused about the meaning of the portal of the future. Harazai notes said almost nothing about it, as if its nature should be obvious to anyone, and so it is, once you understand the symmetry of the Harazar plan. The portal of the future is not a portal by which one exists the chamber of the gates. It is a portal by which one enters. Indeed, that is the key. The essence of the future is what unlocks the weave. What is the essence of the future? Those events which have not yet come to pass. But what could be the essence of such events if they have not yet taken place? What could it be? Perhaps you already know the answer. Dreams. Your dreams, Karini Kovaleski, they are the essence of the future. They are how the future reaches back and makes itself known to us, the dreams of prophets. And thus you already possess the essence of the future, and thus only you can unlock the weave. Indeed, to unlock the weave, all you need to do is hold aloft the scepter of lore and speak the incantation of Zayanthia, Ymreth-Arduin. These words will activate the portal that will bring you to the chamber of the gates. Once you have entered, you will be able to restore the balance of the physical and spiritual elements, and then only one balance will remain to be restored, the balance between the future and the past. Portal of the past. Now is the time for you to fully understand your role in this tale, Karini Kovaleski. I recommend you sit down, for the truth will shake you to the core. How can one restore the balance between the future and the past? How can one realign the river of time? The answer is at once both simple and disturbing, and it has been within you all along. Many years ago, my friend, you experienced an extraordinary dream. Through your powers, you explored the landscape of all that would come to pass and came face to face with your own future self. And she lied to you. She tricked you into casting the world into 100 years of terrible suffering. And now you must do the same. You must stand on the other side of that mirror, face to face with your own past. And you must lie to her. Larian's face turns pale. The portal of the past is not a portal, but a gateway to a lucid dream. You must enter this dream and travel back through the landscape of memories. There you will come again to the cliff at the edge of time, where you must await your own former self. And when she comes, you must lie to her. You must convince her to take the scepter you hold in your hand and use it to shatter the Pentaract. Thus the balance between the past and the future will be restored. I can only imagine the pain you must feel upon reading these words. I can only appreciate the guilt that you felt through all of your travels over these miles and decades. I am sure that 1,000 times you have vowed that you would never do this terrible thing, but you must do it. There is no choice. No, you cannot. You must trust me, Karini Kovaleski. I have researched this matter at great depth. The only way to prevent the end of days is to restore balance between all of the elements. The Harazar machine can do this for the physical and the spiritual elements, but only you can restore the balance between the past and the future. By the gods. If the balance between the past and future is not restored, then all the other elements will again slip into misalignment and the world will fall into annihilation. If you do not do this, then you will bring upon us all the final end of days. The century of sorrow has already come to pass, Karini Kovaleski. What is done cannot be undone. All that now remains are the lives and hopes of future generations, whose fate you hold in the palm of your hand. You must do this. Trust me, my friend. It is the only way. Put the notes away. Wow. So, by the gods, so that is why I've been deceived. That is why my own future self had lied to me. It is because she had no choice. She had to do it in order to restore balance to the world. It all makes sense now. To restore the balance between the past and the future, I must do as had myself foreseen so long ago. I must be the cause of the beginning and the end of the century of sorrow. That is why I must now choose to commit this terrible sin. I must speak the same horrible lie that I vowed never to speak. I have no choice. This is what must be done. I must unlock the portal to the past and once again enter a lucid dream. And in this dream I shall once again come face to face with my own self. I must meet my own past self, who will come pleading to me for help, and I must betray her. Gods forgive me. To put an end to the century of sorrow, I must bring balance to the world. To do so, I must obtain samples of the 8 essences of existence. These include the 4 physical essences of earth, fire, water, and air, as well as the spiritual essences of life and death, and finally the essence of the past and the future. I must bring these to the center of a great machine built long ago by the Herazars. Thus a new Pentaract will be created, the world will be saved, and the end of days will be prevented. Thus fate will be defeated. To do this, I must begin by entering the structure that Evanorn referred to as the Weave, an eternal braid of energy spinning in the center of lower Ymreth-Arduin. To do so, I must hold out my scepter of lore and speak the following incantation, Ymreth-Arduin. This will unlock the Weave and allow me enter to the chamber of the gates. Interestingly, I will pass through the gate of the future, for I already possess the essence of the future, my power of prophecy. Lord Evernorn's notes have revealed to me the Herazar plan. They meant to remake creation. To do this, they needed to destroy the point around which the world stands in balance, the Pentaract, and then to remake it after 100 years have passed. This is what I must do to end the century of sorrow. I must recreate the Pentaract. Wow. So that was a mouthful. But we know what we must do now. And it's going to be tough. But we're going to try to get it done. Wow. So I hope you enjoyed this as much as I have. The next episode, we enter the Weave and start doing some of these tasks, starting with the fire plane. And I will see you then. Much love, peace, joy, and light to your life. And stay tuned, for the conclusion of this game is coming sooner rather than later. So I will see you in the next episode. Stay cool, people.